you're watching Morning Live, and we certainly appreciate you tuning in. Now, unemployment among graduates is an immense problem in South Africa. This according to the South African Council for Graduates, or SACGRA. And the organization serves as a custodian for TVET colleges and university graduates to try and bridge the gap between them and employment. And they say that graduates are finding it harder and harder to find employment in their respective fields. And joining us now is Thamsanqa Maqubela, who is the executive chairman of the South African Council for Graduates. Thanks so much for coming through.
Thank you, Sakina. Thanks for having us.
I was saying to you off air, unemployed graduates for me is a bit of an oxymoron, because you should not be a graduate and not be able to feed yourself one way or another.
Fully agree with you, Sakina. It is, however, a challenge that we continue to face day in and day out, not only for graduates, but also for students from universities and TVET colleges. The South African Council for Graduates continues to say that graduates should not be part of the problem, they should be part of the solution. And this is how we're doing it. This is what we're doing, getting them onto platforms that will enable them while they are still students, not to graduate and hope someone else will assist them.
And that's fantastic. I'm loving this already, because we're going to be part of the solution now. We're not creating problems. So what exactly do you do to try and help these graduates bridge those gaps?
We do certainly two things, Madam. One is to equip students and prepare them for the world of work through workplace training. Workplace training is very important. It is much more important today than it was ever before. The second thing we do is to prepare students and graduates to run their own entrepreneurial programs, or particularly cooperatives. Because in a campus, you have actually a fertile ground to have students in engineering, in marketing, in HR, in accounting, to come together and start their own businesses. We're saying to campuses, universities and colleges, you better start spending money on your own students. The procurement spend of universities, the procurement spend of number of companies could be channeled towards student-run businesses. And
what has the response been?
Well, with regards to the internships, the response has been quite good. We are very grateful to organizations such as the Food Bev SETA, FPNM SETA, Construction SETA, HW SETA, CAT SETA, who have come in and invested in us being able to finance stipends for young people. But we continue to say to the Minister of Higher Education, we need to standardize the stipends. We're saying to you, as Sakina, we're saying to the SABC, come and get graduates from us. We will pay for them for the 12, 18, or 24 months. When it comes to enterprise and supply development, companies such as Lafarge, Padco, they've taken and heard our message, but it is not enough. We need as many host employers, we need as many companies as possible to come and be able to do enterprise and supply development with our graduates who are starting cooperatives.
So with regard to this lack of opportunity for graduates, how dire is the problem, and what sort of effect is it having on our economy, for instance, right now?
The effect is quite huge, Sakina, because remember, you have a situation of multiplicity of databases. You have the NYDA having its own database, Department of Labor, they've got their own database, the Youth Employment Services, they've got their own database. SACGRA has its own database. So we said that actually even last year to President Ramaphosa at the Job Summit, that we got to have a single or unified database where we're able to see duplicates and be able to say, this is the hub of graduate unemployment, and then we can also make opportunities available in unison to all these young people. So actually it is a structural and policy issue as well, as much more as that other people, especially in rural areas and townships, they're not even able to afford data to be able to go to Facebook, go to online platforms to see what employment opportunities are available.
So since raising that issue at the Job Summit, have you been able to find some synergy between yourselves and these other entities that you mentioned in order to try and consolidate what all of you do?
Not yet.
Why not?
The number of emergencies, it's high time, Sakina, that we get our politicians to be focusing on the single most important thing in South Africa, which is unemployment, creating jobs. We're spending too much time in commissions. We've got to be able to come out of that mode. Right now, we're busy with elections. Which time do we have to actually run this country and grow the economy?
And with regard to big business, are they coming on board, or what sort of response have you gotten from them?
We have had some very good responses from the Presidential Job Summit, but thereafter, The response is going very slowly. Remember, there was an investment summit, which also we attended. But we're saying to business, it is going to take us a long time to go to them one by one. We need BUSA, we need the BBC to be able to talk to us so that we can then be able to talk to one-to-many. In that, then we're able to fast-track the opportunities. The funding is there from the SETAs. We want companies to come in and meet us halfway so that we can top up and run these programs. Many of these companies, they need BE partners. We want them to come and work with us. We have a most innovative solution called the Business Toolbox, which is a 360-degree business operations software that will enable young people to be able to run businesses. Because pretty much the problem is that people don't know how to run a business. They know how to offer a service. They know how to manufacture a good or a product, but they don't know how to run a business. So we've closed that gap. That is why we're looking for businesses to come and work with us. Join the likes of Lafarge, the likes of Padco.
So for some business persons sitting out there who may not have been aware of your existence and what you do, if they're trying to get in touch with you, if graduates are trying to get in touch with you, how do they go about doing that?
There are three people that would like to get in touch with us. Number one, as I've said, students who need their work integrated learning, unemployed graduates who are stranded and want to get an opportunity, reach us at 011-318-0066. 011-318-0066. To cooperatives and SMMEs all over South Africa, we have partnerships with the Department of Small Business Development. We've got an allowance of about 440 million rand that is available in the coffers through the Cooperative Incentive Scheme. So we're looking for cooperatives, particularly those that are in the secondary space. However, you've got to have been in business. For this particular one, you've got to have been in business, and the funding is available up to 11 million rand per secondary cooperative. That will provide an opportunity for you to be able to provide resources, equipment that you may daily need where you are not able to meet the demands of your contracts. Thirdly, as I've said, government departments, private companies, come work with us. We've got to put much more investment and resources in the area of our youth. It is very important to put our youth to productive use. Even as we go towards the elections on May 8, let us put all our resources to ensure that coming out of the elections, we have sufficient armor to guide the political parties. Because most of the time we go towards the elections, they've got the time, but after the elections, they don't. Now we've got to hold them accountable. We say to business, work with us so that we can ensure that we've got policies that will streamline the lack of idleness from our youth and young people and find them to be productive. In that way, we'll grow innovations and foreign direct investment for this country.
Well, thank you so much for coming through. Thamsanqa Maqubela, who's the Executive Chairman of the South African Council for Graduates, SACGRA, talking to us about the unemployment rate amongst graduates. But they, of course, are part of the solution, not the problem. All right, we're going to take a break.